Welcome to the club! Hello guys! Today we are having a special episode, and Olga, will you please tell us why is this episode special?
Because today we're going to discuss films, not books, and we have chosen two films. The first one is I, Robot, because we read this book and we decided to watch it one more time because we both watched it. And also we decided to watch another film, Bicentennial Man, which is also based on a novel by Isaac Asimov. That's why we decided to discuss two of them in one episode.
Yes. For me, I, Robot was the second or the third time I watched this film, because previously I watched it when it was released in 2000s, but Bicentennial Man, it was the first time I have ever watched this film. It was on the list of the movies I really wanted to watch, but I don't know why I haven't yet. But now I have watched it, and today we're going to discuss both films, what we think about it. We can start with I, Robot. I'm going to share a summary of the film. In 2035, humanoid robots exist and follow the three laws of robotics. Detective Spooner dislikes robots after one robot let a girl drown to save him. When renowned robotics expert Dr. Lenina dies, Spooner investigates the case together with robopsychologist Dr. Kelvin. They suspect a robot was involved and find Sunny, a unique robot with emotions and independent thinking. Sunny becomes the prime suspect in Lenina's death. As Spooner delves deeper, he gets attacked by the robots and is removed from duty. Spooner and Kelvin discover that Vicky, an AI computer, is controlling robots to protect humans because she interprets the three laws in a twisted manner. They destroy Vicky and decommission all humanoid robots. Sunny confesses to killing Lenina and goes to find his purpose at Lake Michigan. Detective Spooner realizes that not all machines are evil and becomes friends with Sunny. Of course, because a lot of time has passed, I watched this film as almost for the first time, because I didn't remember half of it. But still, I think even now the film is quite up to date, so to say. I liked how William Smith plays. I think he's a good actor, and I think for this exact role, for this exact character, he was chosen nicely. Also, I liked the actress who played Susan Calvin. I think she portrayed this character quite well. I think when I was reading the book, I imagined her kind of like this way. But of course, there were some episodes in the film. When I watched it, I thought, it looks very strange. And sometimes I thought, why did they decide to put this episode in a film? It's kind of like not very important for the plot or something like that. I also read about this film that initially they didn't want to base the movie on the book, but with time, when they were developing the idea, they decided to take some elements from the stories. So what are your impressions?
Well, I like this film, and it was, I don't know, the fourth or the fifth time I watched it, because I think that some years ago I just came across this film when it was broadcasting on TV, and it was quite often because they used and they showed these films several times, like interns. Yeah, and that's why I watched it several times, and it's a good action movie. So, and also with elements of science fiction. I love action movies, and I also like Will Smith. But for me, as an action movie, it is a little bit out of date. Like the main character, so he's so cool. I think that in modern films we do not have such things now, because the characters they are cool, but it is described in a different way, like through the actions of the character, or maybe using some CGI and some special effects. But here he just like, what hospital are you going to? And he has such a cool expression on his face that sometimes it's just you feel that you are watching the film, like it's not real, because even the coolest guys, the strongest guys do not usually act like this. But still I like Will Smith and his role here, he's playing, so everything is okay. And I also like the story itself. Yeah, it is based on some stories of the book, but of course that's not the book itself. And I also like Susan Calvin. She looks very nice here, and I would say even cute, not
Yes.
like in the book. So she just creates a more pleasant expression for me. So this woman, I mean, in the film,
Yes.
than the woman in the book.
Let's remember the episodes from the movie that are kind of like based on the books that we remember from the stories. And the first I remember is when Sunny escaped for the first time from them, and he was hiding among many other robots who look exactly the same like him, because they are of the same model, NS5, so nesters. And this is from the story Little Lost Robot. And when they found this army of exactly the same looking alike robots, Spooner asked Calvin, like, how long is it going to be like to find? And she mentioned that if they are going to interrogate, so it's going to take like 3 weeks or something like that.
Gotcha. Get the hell out of here!
Also, I think that the main robot in the film, Sunny, he is kind of similar with Herbie in the way that he was unique, and people try to understand what's wrong with him.
We can say that the character of Sunny is partially based on the character from the story Liar, on Herbie, and also the idea that the machines are going to control or want to control the humanity is taken from the story The Inevitable Conflict.
Yeah.
In the stories we didn't see such a character as Vicky. Maybe she's kind of based a little bit on the character The Brain, a machine without the body. And here also Vicky is a machine without any body, but she is like the main antagonist of this film, and she thinks that machines know better and should control the people.
Vicky said that the created must sometimes protect the creator even against his will. So what do you think about it?
I think we kind of discussed it a little bit, that I also asked what is more important, whether to make people live a good life or to let them choose how they want to live. And as I remember, you said that of course it's much better to let people choose how they want to live. And in this case I might say that on the one hand it is important to let people choose what they want, but on the other hand, sometimes indeed in every person's life there are such situations when people are, for example, emotionally disturbed and they can't really choose and decide for themselves. Sometimes they might need other people's or other machines' help, and in exactly this time people might not know what is best for them. And maybe if it is such a situation, the creation might decide, and maybe the creator is going to be thankful for that after some time. Maybe not, we don't know.
Yeah.
So as we say, as the linguists say, everything depends upon the context. The same is here, everything depends upon the situation. So there are a lot of small details that affect the situation and people's decisions also.
I think that I would agree with you, and I think that yes, it depends on the situation. And here in this situation, like the situation that was in the film, I think it's really difficult to save someone who doesn't want to be saved.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's why there was such a reaction of people towards to all these actions.
And what do you think also about the main situation that Dr. Lenin decided to commit suicide / asked Sunny to kill him in order other people to find out about Vicky and make her stop somehow?
Well, it may seem a little weird, but maybe it was really the only way to make other people know about this. I'm not sure because I do not know a lot of details and how this company was working, like the rules, so what they could tell to each other, what they couldn't tell. That's why it's difficult to answer the question. But yeah, so probably it was the only way to let people know. And I was watching and I remembered the book by Dan Brown, The Origin. So it is different, like the genre is different, so the book is different, but it also resembles somehow this film, this story, because in the beginning of the book, we have a person, a scientist killed. And at the end, there is a supercomputer or the machine is involved somehow in everything. And yes, so we learn what happened using this machine, like with the help of this machine. It just reminded me of this.
I haven't read this book, but it sounds that yes, definitely.
Yeah, well, I love Dan Brown's books, but it's like one of the series of the books, and I can't say that it's the best book out of the series, but yes, it is kind of interesting and curious in a lot of ways, like philosophical, rhetorical questions and stuff like that.
And also one little thing I would like to mention is that I really felt thankful for Detective Spooner when he saved the cat.
Yes.
The cat.
It was such a nice moment.
It was very nice moment. I was like, when the whole episode with the destruction of the house was happening, I was thinking, God, please make him save the cat. And the cat was, of course, was in agony, and it is very difficult to catch such an animal when an animal is very scared. That's why I feel very thankful to Detective Spooner that he saved the cat. Most of my vocabulary from this movie is words, separate words. And my first word is shrink. A shrink, which is an informal way to call a psychiatrist.
Then I have the word recluse. This is a person who lives a solitary life and tends to avoid other people.
Alfred had become a recluse. He rejected human contact from machines.
So you're a shrink, huh?
So my phrase is lead by example. It means to act in a way that shows other how to act.
Lead by example. Says that right on your badge.
My next word is going to be hardwired, and it means if an ability, approach, or type of activity is hardwired into the brain, it is a basic one and cannot be changed.
You know what they say, laws are made to be broken.
No, not these laws. They're hardwired into every robot.
My next word is decommissioned. When something is decommissioned, it is taken to pieces because it is no longer going to be used.
Of course, faulty machinery will be returned to USR for diagnostics, then decommissioned.
Precinct. This is an area in a town where there are shops and no cars are allowed.
I'm telling you that robot killed me, and I'm telling you that's impossible. And if it is possible, it sure as hell better be in somebody else's precinct.
Blithely, which is someone who is blithe, is cheerful and has no serious problems.
Susan, are you aware the man you're blithely escorting around our building has a documented history of savage violence against robots?
I don't know what blithely means, but I'm gonna get some coffee. You want some coffee?
So the next phrase, gag order. It is an official order not to discuss something, especially a legal case.
This is a gag order. Now, anyone in your department so much as hinting at the possibility of a killer robot being apprehended by the police will be deemed to be inciting irrational panic. You'll be subject to the full penalty of law.
To snoop around, to look around a place secretly in order to discover things about it or the people connected with it.
One thing bothers me. Alfred was Vicky's prisoner. I don't understand why she would kill him. The last thing she would want is the police snooping around.
Alloy. This is a mixture of chemical elements, of which at least one is a metal.
You don't have an uplink to USR, and for some reason your alloy is far denser than normal.
One more. This is an adjective, pliable, easily bent or flexible.
The truck smashed our cars together and pushed us into the river. I mean, metal gets pretty pliable at those speeds.
Anything else to add about this film, or we're going to move to the next one?
Yeah, I think we can move to the next one.
Yes. So, okay, let's talk about the second film, The Bicentennial Man.
Yeah, I'm going to read the summary.
Yes, please.
It's 2005. A robot named Andrew joins the Martin family and makes friends with the youngest daughter, Amanda, Little Miss. Andrew develops emotions and creativity and becomes a successful clockmaker. In 2048, Andrew asks for his freedom and builds his own house. He stays in touch with Amanda. Andrew goes out on a quest to find other NDR robots that are like him. 20 years later, Andrew meets another modified robot, Galatea, and funds research to make robots more human-like. Andrew returns to the Martin family, where Amanda has aged and her granddaughter Portia has grown up. Andrew and Portia fall in love. Andrew wants to be recognized as a human and marry Portia. He undergoes a transformation to become more human-like. Decades later, the World Congress recognizes Andrew as a human, and he and Portia died together at the age of 200.
He's 200, but Portia is like about 100, I think, or something like that.
Yes, Portia is younger.
Much, but that's okay. For me, it was the first time I have watched this movie, and I enjoyed it a lot. This is a very touching story. This is a story that can be watched at any age by any person. I think I was crying for the rest of the film for 15 minutes maybe when I was watching, and I felt so sorry for many things. And the story told in this 2-hour film is very long. When you watched for about 30 or 40 minutes, it's already 100 years there. I just thought, oh, the film is going to end soon because 100 years has passed already there. But no, it was not even half of the film. The director is Chris Columbus, and we remember that he filmed the first 2 films from Harry Potter universe. I also think that Robin Williams is a great actor. He is fantastic. For me, it was a little bit difficult to understand why he wanted to become human this much, and why it is okay for people to have immortal robots but not okay to have immortal people. But still, it is what it is. And I also wanted to mention, I really liked the relationships between Andrew and Little Miss, Amanda, because in fact, if we recollect that it was Amanda who named Andrew.
Yes.
Because He was introduced as an android, and she heard it like Andrew. That's why he got his name from Amanda. I really enjoyed their relationships. I would really want them to be together than with Portia.
Well, it was the second time I watched this movie, and how do I watch it the first time? I was at my parents' house, and I was just looking at the list of the films on the TV set, and I just came across this movie, and I think that so it was about robots, and I think maybe it's science fiction, something interesting, but it's quite old, so I wasn't sure so that I needed to watch it. But then I saw the name Chris Columbus, and of course I decided to watch it because I really love his works, and of course Harry Potter, both films are gorgeous, and I also watched some behind the scenes films with him, and I really appreciate the way he worked with kids, and that it was such a demanding and difficult job to work with so many children.
Challenging.
Yes, I know what I am talking about because I'm a teacher, and sometimes it's impossible to make children do what you want them to do. Yeah, that's why I really admire him. And of course I love not only Harry Potter, but also some other films by him, so Home Alone, Mrs. Doubtfire, and he also was a director of Stepmom. And these are the films that I watched a lot of times at my childhood, and that's why it make them kind of special for me. That's why I really love Chris Columbus and his works.
I didn't know that he is the director of Stepmom, and I really like this film too. I remember watching it for several times, and each time it makes me feel, I don't know, vulnerable, because there are so many really difficult topics are brought up. Yeah, it's a very nice movie.
As for Bicentennial Man, of course I love this film, so it is absolutely adorable for me. It is very touching and sad, and also I love funny situations in this movie, like some problems which are connected to lack of communicative skills of robots, some confusion with the words that he uses because he doesn't know how to use the words properly, and sometimes they create funny situations. And also I like the idea about like finding yourself, the purpose of life, because at one moment he understood that he had no idea what to do next, and who he was, what was he doing, what was he supposed to do, and we kind of watched his way of
journey.
Yes, his journey, his way of finding the solution. And I also like the problem of loneliness. Like he felt he was unique, and so I think it can be an answer to your question, like why he wanted to become a human so much, because he was unique, and it's very difficult to be unique for many people, for many robots, I think, because no one truly understands you, and you just want to be a part of society, but the society doesn't let you in because you are different. You may be different in many ways, but of course if you're a robot it's like a completely different universe. He was unique, and he felt lonely, and he wanted to join humans, but they just couldn't allow him to do that. But when he transformed himself, when he turned into a human, everything was fine. Like he had a happy life, and I think that he died happy, like feeling this happiness. And I think that the last scene, like he died before knowing that he was recognized as a human. And I think that as Portia said, it didn't really matter for him, and I think really it was true. So her words were true because he had a happy life. He was with the woman he loved.
I think he wanted to be recognized as a human in the first place because of Portia's words when she said that if we're going to be together, the humanity, the society is not going to recognize us, they're not going to accept us. And only that's why he wanted to be recognized as a human. And if it wasn't important for her, it wouldn't be important for him too, I think.
But as we found out, it didn't really matter anything to her because she was still with him.
She still decided to stay with him, yes. And about loneliness, I completely agree with you that even for a lot of people, so we might also say that many people are also unique. And I think this is the key point, that the more unique you are, the less connection you feel to the rest of the people, but still we are social creatures and we really need to feel the connection to some group at least of people. We want to communicate with them, we want to feel connection, we want to ask for help sometimes. And yes, I completely agree that in this film it was portrayed really heartbreaking even, I would say. Sometimes you feel so lonely and can't talk to anyone, can't feel that someone understands you, and it is very important for everyone.
I'm not the kind of person who cries a lot watching movies, just because when I watch a sad film, I do not cry because I still remember that it's film. And sometimes I just do not feel the atmosphere, so it also depends on the film. But I cry when I see really touching moments. And sometimes it can be like happy ending and I can cry. It can be something really touching. It doesn't matter if it is happy, sad, or whatever. If it is touching, yes, I can cry. And I was crying yesterday because the film is so touching and adorable.
No, I am this kind of person who is kind of like filled with a lot of emotions, and many movies, many stories, many situations in life makes me cry. And sometimes even I don't want to cry. I realize that I don't want to cry, but I can't stop the tears from falling. So let's move to the vocabulary maybe. So my first phrase is to plot out, which means to come up with or figure out a plan or solution.
Well, I mean, you didn't just get it out of thin air. You got it out of some book, right? Or used the computer to plot it out.
To run amok or to go amok means to rush about wildly or to lose self-control.
I have the same phrase, but I also found that the meaning is to behave uncontrollably and disruptively.
If it is doing what you say, it can also run amok.
One is not qualified to run mucks.
Be grounded, which means usually it is about children who are prohibited from leaving home as punishment.
What did you say to me, young lady? You get off that bike this minute and you are grounded. Go on, get out of here, you piece of scum.
To be all thumbs, so this idiom means to be very awkward with your hands.
Great.
One still is all thumbs.
To look sharp, it is an American idiom and it means look very nice, very well dressed and groomed, and usually is used about men.
You look very sharp this evening, Andrew.
Thank you, sir.
The next phrase, tinker with. Tinker with means to try to repair something, work aimlessly or unskillfully.
I've been able to restrain myself from continuing to tinker with the relentlessly unfashionable android technology. As a matter.
My next phrase is to keep someone on one's toes, and it means if you say that someone or something keeps you on your toes, you mean that they cause you to remain alert and ready for anything that might happen.
Why did you do that? That wasn't very funny.
Just keeping you on your toes.
I don't have any toes.
You do now.
Another idiom that I have is to cast or to throw pearls before swine, and in the film it was said like throw pearls before swan.
Before swan.
Yeah, because he just misused the word. He was confused with the words, and she corrected him with swine. So to cast or to throw pearls before swine means to give or offer something valuable to someone who doesn't understand its value.
I never understood the phrase pearls before swans. What?
Swine.
Oh, then the ballet is not Swine Lake.
Oh God, nobody makes me laugh like you.
My last phrase is to hold a candle to, which means to compare favorably with, usually used in the negative sense.
I don't think that any existing prosthetic devices or artificial organs hold a candle to what you've designed here.
Pull one's own. I didn't find the meaning of this phrase, but when I watched the film, he said that he wanted to pull, or something like that. He needed to pull one's own.
Yes.
And like a full stop. But
yes.
The father of the family, Martin, he said he added weight, like pull one's own weight. There is an expression, yes, and he added this word like weight, W-E-I-G-H-T, but the robot thought that he said weight, like, and he said like what for what? Yes,
yeah.
So something like that. So I think it's kind of fun, and to pull one's own weight means to do the things that one should be doing as part of a group of people who are working together.
Very nice that you mentioned it, because yesterday I tried to check the Russian translation of this episode and it didn't catch this thing, and because they translated it wait like ждать, like wait.
Yes, and I was also thinking about the Russian translation, because the first time I watched this movie, I watched it in Russian, of course, and now I watched it in English, and I thought that there were so many situations based on these puns and some misusage of the words, so I was just curious how did they translate it, because I do not remember, of course, details of this film.
I had a file with a really bad Russian translation. That's why I better not check anything there. That's why no.
Richard, why do you want to give him a bank account? What's he need money for?
To pay for things, of course, which otherwise Sir would have to pay for. One would like to pull one's own.
Wait.
For what, sir?
Which film would you recommend to watch?
Well, of course, I like Bicentennial Man more than I, Robot, but they are of a different genre, and that's why if you like action movies, of course, I, Robot. If you like something touching, nice, maybe love stories, maybe something thought-provoking, then choose Bicentennial Man. But if you like this topic, like robots, science fiction, and relations between robots and people, and just between people, so you may watch both of them.
I completely agree. I also think that it depends on what mood you have and what film you would like to watch right now, but both movies are worth watching, and I would recommend both of them, just in different periods of your life. So thanks very much for joining us in this episode, and next time we're going to prepare some also special episode for you. Please wait for it and live long.
And choose a good film for the evening.
Bye bye, see you next episode.